Let's take a look at our Lance 2375 Four Seasons travel trailer. We have really enjoyed using this travel trailer. We really have been able to use it in all 4 seasons, taking it to Southwest Florida, taking it to Southwest Texas through a winter blizzard that you can see here, taking it out into the desert, taking it off-grid into Valley of the Gods, taking it over to Lone Rock Beach, and traveling through western states and mountains of Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and back to Georgia. So let's look at some of the typical wear and tear you would see in a travel trailer using it this way, and some of the things that we've changed and some of the things that we've disliked that we've had to modify. We're going to show you that, and hopefully this helps you make some decisions about whether or not a Lance travel trailer interests you and what you might expect or think about modifying. So this is our Lance 2375. It's a 2018. I want to review some things with it, just some general maintenance things we've had to do. I'll tell you a little bit about how it's done overall. It's been very good for us. There are a few little things I have critiques of. One of them is the position of those bump stops right there. I'll zoom in on that. Right down there in the back corner, you can see that bump stop. Just in front of it here, you can see our bent up stabilizer jack, and that's one of my criticisms I'm going to talk about, is why that happens. Of course, you can lift these. The problem with lifting it is then it becomes an increased wind sail, so I kind of like the height it sits at. Unfortunately, it doesn't make it ideal for necessarily taking it to places we want to go with it. So we really like the Lance. We're just looking at backing off and getting a slightly smaller model. This is a 2375. It's mostly just my wife and I when we go, so we're looking at getting a 1995. And but we're going to go and review some of the things we are less than thrilled with about this one, starting with the window right there. Now, this has been my biggest criticism of the Lance so far. I love this stargazer window, they call it, and I don't know if we can make it out here. You can kind of see it. This cracked going down the road. I've put in some duct tape where I'm missing a couple pieces there and a couple pieces there. It's just like a tempered glass windshield in terms of it's speckled all the way through. It's hard to see here in the sun, but you can kind of see some of the remnants of it down here. But that whole thing needs to be replaced. That's $400 to replace that. Not very excited about that. Now, we bought this from somebody else who had it for the first couple years. We've had it for the past year, and that happened to them as well. They did not get the vinyl cover. We are purchasing the vinyl cover for it to put that on next. So this is my Dinosaur Electronics new switchboard here that I am replacing in my Lance for the original factory version, which is one from Dometic that seems to have a pretty common problem, and I'll show you a picture of that in a little bit, and I think it did fail on us. The one I'm replacing with it comes with a cover. This is the cover right here. Unfortunately, the little slots that you see, the one up here by my thumb and this other one here, aren't really big enough to go around these wires here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Sawzall and I'm going to cut a wider opening here so that all that stuff fits in there a little bit easier. It's just a little bit tight the way the wires are bound, and what I'm finding out is it's a little bit touchy in terms of the connections, and so I don't want to mess with them too much once I've got them in position and working. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, take care of that, and we'll take another look at it. Here next to my blistered up hand, you can see from a bunch of yard work, ignore that, but you can see the two sides. You can see how this one here, this is the way it comes. I ordered an extra one just in case, because I thought I might have to do something like this. This is the one that I've sawed and filed the rough edges on, so this is not too sharp, but it's still pretty sturdy, but will be a little bit more accommodating of a cover. This was another one of those things that you just have to expect when you're going down the road. We did hit a big piece of blown out tire that got slammed against the outside, cracked our fender right there, as you can see. Not a huge deal. We do have a fender on order from Lance, however they're on back order, but my wife and I are planning on getting a smaller Lance. This is a 2375. We do a little bit more off-grid camping, and so we think something a little bit smaller, a 1995, might suit us better. We're planning on buying one of those. What I may do is swap this piece out when we get that new one, assuming that the sizes are the same and that they match well, until we can get this one, which is on back order from Lance. Another problem we had while going down the road was this pole for the gray tank right here. While we were going down the road one time, we'd stopped for the night. I went to go empty the gray tank and discovered that this was just hanging. It was completely unthreaded and out. I don't know how I didn't lose it going down the road, but I was able to thread it back in and get it to stay put for us. Yeah, and in that just general maintenance category is this awning that you see up here on top of the slide out. If you look right here at that far front corner on the driver's side of the slide out, you can see I've got some tape on it. That guy's torn there and needs to be replaced. So I've got that on order. That should be coming and we'll get that one replaced. Shouldn't be a big deal. Now there are some changes we went ahead and made. One of them is this table right here. We took out the table that went between here. We have the ability to put it back, and we probably will put it back before we sell it. But this is one that just for the two of us makes access to the window much easier. It's also significantly space saving in the dining room here. If you're looking at that, another maintenance issue. If you look at our lights here, the pieces that were holding the lamps in place, literally just bumped those with the head one day. Both pieces fell, so we've got to get some new globes to cover those with. Now again, not a huge deal, something you expect when you're moving something down the highway a lot. We did have to rethread this curtain right here. These curtains work great, they function great, we really like them. The big brown covers on them, they're a little bit not as convenient to use with that, but they do look nice. They are trimmed out nicely. And the chairs that it came with, you see, we moved those out to make a little more room, to create a little bit more space in here. We added these director's chairs in here that we use, combined with these footrests that we store stuff in, and that works pretty well. And then in the center here, we moved out the center console that was there. And before we sell this, we'll put that back in and we'll put these chairs back in. But we moved that out to put in this. Essentially, it's a coffee table dog kennel, and our two small dogs are able to go in there, and we don't have to carry an extra kennel with us then, either in the bed of the truck or in the travel trailer here. And so it's not as inconvenient to have to move stuff around. And those are some modifications we made to this that work better for us, but we likely will be moving them back as we get ready to go ahead and sell this. Another repair we had to do was in the bathroom here, where the sliding curtain hangs. You can see these little gray foot pieces up here. A couple of those had broken while we were on the road. You can see on the other side they're black. I haven't replaced them on this side. The gray one's over here, the black one's over here. It wasn't a terribly difficult job. It was just a little bit time consuming, a little bit frustrating. But again, it's something that you expect over time. And again, down here, if you look, you can see this one's gray, this one's black. And these two are black as well. So got to change those all out so they match. But again, we're selling this, so got to get it all ready to go. Here is my number one dislike of the Lance travel trailer. My number one dislike has to do right back here. So this is my number one dislike on the Lance travel trailer. Look at these bump stops. This bump stop, compared to that jack stand, that bump stop and that stabilizer bar, they're not the same height. That bump stop is about 3 inches above that jack stand, which means this actually functions as your bump stop. And if you look at the foot right here, we can see that that separated right there. On the other side, it ripped off completely when I was pulling out of a parking lot that had a little bit of a hill to it. So number one criticism of the Lance travel trailer has to do with that guy right there. Why is that so darn low? So that's my jack now. This is my stabilizer jack, and what I've done is I've taken that piece right there out. That was 3 full inches. I gained 3 full inches of ground clearance. I'm waiting for the replacement feet to come, but now as you can see, that bump stop sits just a little bit below the jack. Before, the jack and the foot stood about 3 inches below the bump stop. Now they're just a little bit short. When I put the feet on it, it should be even, but because that bump stop is all the way in the back and the pivot point is up there by the wheels, the bump stop should now hit first. I don't know why it came that way. I assume it was some sort of impact, but design flaw. Never should have been added to this trailer, and that was my biggest pet peeve with it. Although we've done multiple customizations, that's the one that I'm most satisfied with. So here is my completed removal, as you can see there, from where the stabilizer jack is. I've taken out that spacer, and now that bump stop sits just a little bit lower than the jack does. I've got to get some new feet, and I've actually got to get an entirely new jack stand because that thing sits so low that on the other side it's been damaged irreparably, and so we've got a new jack stand with new feet coming for it. Here's what the stabilizer jack looks like on the other side. As you can see, it's irregular, not doing a great job, won't lower, won't call back up anymore. While it may seem like we're ready to move on from Lance travel trailers, that just isn't the case. The truth of the matter is we've really enjoyed this travel trailer, and it's handled temperatures down in southwest Florida that are extremely high, and it's handled cold temperatures in southwest Texas down to 6 to 8 degrees, and nothing froze, and we had heat all night long. We are very happy with it. However, the size of it is a little bit big for the off-grid camping that we like to do, so we're going to be switching to the 1995. Feel free to share any thoughts or comments that you have, and feel free to hit like and subscribe. We'd enjoy putting out more content, but it makes it easier if we know what people are interested in seeing.